might have heard the hadith that Surah Al-Waqi'ah will prevent somebody from falling into poverty. Now, scholars say it's a weak hadith, some say it's fabricated, but I wanted to look into it to see that if there is truth to it, what is in Surah Al-Waqi'ah that would prevent a person from falling into poverty? And there's a specific section of that surah that gave me the answer. And it ties back into a principle we find in Hadith al-Qudsi, where Allah says, I am as my servant thinks I am. I can do for my servant what he thinks I can do for him. Surah Waqi'ah mainly deals with the Day of Judgment, those who will go into Jannah, those who will go into Jahannam. But there's a part in Surah Al-Waqi'ah that changes the topic briefly, from verse 57 to verse 74. In this specific stanza, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it is we who created you. Will you not then believe? And then it talks about the ability to create, saying that who makes a baby grow? Is it us or is it Allah? He gives us something to start with, but He's the one who makes it grow into a human being. Then He says, what about the seed that you sow? Now, literally, this is farming, right? Planting a seed. But this is also about any effort you take to do something. And He asks us to say, is it Allah who makes it grow or are we the grower? And that if Allah wanted, even with our effort, He could make it not grow. This is the same thing when it comes to earning a living. If Allah doesn't want it to happen, no matter what, it won't happen. Then Allah talks about the water that we drink. Who brings it down from the clouds? Is it us or is it Allah? If He wanted, He could make it salty and then we wouldn't have any water to drink. Then He asks, what about the fire that you kindle? And who gave you the wood to make the fire? So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making us testify to two different things. One is with the effort that we do, He's the one who makes it successful or not successful. And two, who even gave you the stuff to make the effort? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The stanza then concludes in verse 74, so exalt the name of your Lord, the Most Great. Then the surah goes back into talking about the Day of Judgment and that how can you deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your provisions. Now let's circle back. Remember what I told you about constantly testifying towards something, understanding the meaning of it and constantly staying in that frequency. You see, by reciting Surah Al-Waqi'ah, you're constantly acknowledging that your ability to earn anything for a living comes from Allah, and the means to even do it comes from Allah. The success and the failure comes from Allah. So when you testify to that and stay in that energy, why would Allah put someone like that into poverty when you're constantly affirming the fact that He's the one who makes any of your efforts successful? This is why it makes sense that someone who recites Surah Al-Waqi'ah constantly will be saved from poverty, because you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing for you, and Allah is to His servant what His servant thinks He is, and Allah does for His servant what His servant believes He can do for them. So recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah with certainty and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider not only of the means, but the ability to make the means successful.